Hello, today's educational session topic is maximizing safety and efficiency, navigating Colorado 811 positive response procedures. Thank you to our sponsor, MetroNet. Love your internet. My name is Carla Sanchez. I'm the Director of Member Relations. We have Carly White.
Hello, Carly White, Member Relations Manager at Colorado 811.
And Sanatam Khalsa.
Hi, my name is Sanatam, and I'm the Damage Prevention Instructor and Field Liaison for Northwest Colorado.
What is positive response? Positive Response is a Colorado 811 hosted communication tool. It's used by the utility owners and operators to communicate the status of a locate request or locate ticket to the excavator. It lets the excavator know the status of each utility being marked and provides the excavator with useful information and documentation about where the facilities are within the excavation area. Positive Response also communicates to the excavator whether all underground facilities have been marked prior to them beginning excavation. Positive Response is a two-part communication. A complete positive response is a combination of first, posting positive response codes with comments, and second, providing supporting documentation, also known as file attachments. You may ask, why does positive response matter? Positive response closes the communication loop between facility owners and excavators. Positive response can help increase clarity for the excavator of the underground facilities within the excavation area. It could possibly reduce the chance of damage, possibly reduce downtime, and it provides the excavator with information needed to work safely and efficiently. And using positive response to communicate and collaborate maximizes safety and efficiency. Each stakeholder plays an important role in the positive response process. By the end of this session, we hope you'll be able to understand Colorado 811 positive response process, collaborate effectively using positive response, and know when the excavator is ready to dig. In order to meet our objectives, this is the agenda that will follow. We'll be covering a 360 view of positive response. To maximize safety and efficiency, we are going to focus on the three topics. Excavator file attachments. These are file attachments provided by the excavator during the ticket creation process. Member positive response process. By using the most accurate response code, comments, and supporting documentation to communicate the status of the ticket. Ending with excavator's perspective, am I ready to dig? By using the resources available, such as positive response codes with comments and supporting documentation provided by the facility owner, verifying the marks on site, excavators will know if they are ready to dig, and if not, take the next appropriate action. So before we dive into positive response, let's rewind for a moment and briefly cover what the excavator best practices are to set up efficient and effective collaboration between the excavator and the facility owner-operator. I'll pass it off to Sanatam to cover excavator file attachments.
Thanks, Carla. An excavator attachment is a file that is submitted along with notification of excavation. These are important because your results in positive response begin before a ticket is submitted. File attachments can help you maximize your chances of getting the best outcome. Spending some time on preparation on the front end can save you time throughout the one-call process to the end. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail, Benjamin Franklin. Improve communication by providing additional detailed information. Use maps to show parcels or digitally whiteline the excavation area. Provide pictures that include identifiable landmarks, signs and structures, painted or flagged pre-marked areas, or where the address is posted. Include plans on new construction that include lot, address, and street information. List GPS coordinates for spot locates or to box in a locate area. Locators can more efficiently and effectively mark utilities that are within a limited but adequate request area. Reduce the need for meets, follow-up phone calls requesting additional information, and delays waiting for locates by providing file attachments when an excavation area is difficult to describe within the location description. You can provide excavator file attachments using web ticket entry and iDig. For the facility owner operators and locate supervisors watching this recording, please make sure that your locators can access and view excavator attachments. The difference in time spent on a locate the entire lot ticket versus adding an excavator file attachment with specifics may be huge. Based on your work area, some locators may be able to clear the ticket without a site visit. Just because the service is free doesn't mean there's no associated cost. Similar to locate the entire lot is locate right-of-way to right-of-way. Imagine locators spending the time it takes to locate the entire right-of-way along this path, including everything in the street, when most of the excavation will happen between the backside of the sidewalk and the edge of the right-of-way on one side of the road, with a handful of crossings in specific corridors. Pre-marking corridor crossings can save significant time too. Here's an example where not all the mapping sources are current. A request can still be processed, but let's walk through some improvements. Here we have a better source from the county's online GIS lookup that includes the address and reduces the scope by half. The boundaries on here make it much clearer where the property is. Digital white lining makes an even bigger difference. Instead of a 20+ acre without any fenced boundaries referenced from an overhead photo, we have a 40-foot swath on just one side. We can even go a step further by adding referenced pre-marks and including photos with our request. Here's a picture of our flagged lath reference from the previous drawing. Here's a picture of the reference for the posted address. Even if the wind blows it over or if it gets covered by snow, the locator stands a much better chance of finding this spot and knowing that they're in the right area. And here's a photo of our reference second flag lath. With all those elements, the bounds of the requested area should be pretty obvious. And here's another large area locate request that we can step through doing more efficiently. Just like to have everybody imagine the time and effort and resources it would take to mark all the different utilities on that entire lot. And that's why instead of requesting the whole area, we ask you to get specific with digital white lining. Including physical white lining along with digital white lining is good for locators and for your crew on site. They will know exactly where the limits of the dig area is. Thanks again to our session sponsor, Metronet. And the question here is, what percentage of tickets include excavator attachments? The answer is 1%. Understand that with 1% participation, you'll be on the leading edge of using excavator attachments. The City of Colorado Springs has ordinances that are specific to excavation within their footprint. So if you work in Colorado Springs, please refer any questions to Colorado Springs Utilities. If you aren't using excavator attachments, please consider implementing their use, especially for large and complex projects. And a reminder here, please make sure that your field staff have access to the file attachments. And for everyone, please help promote the use of file attachments with other stakeholders in your area. Once we have our file attachments submitted with our locate request, the tickets go to our members' locators to be either cleared or marked and documented. And for the next step here, member positive response, I'll pass it off to Carla and Carly to talk through members' response process.
Some of us might have a lot of experience with positive response, and for some of us, it may be the first time we've heard of positive response. What required components make an effective member positive response? Some components for an effective member positive response are marking underground facilities. The law requires that you physically put clearly identifiable markings on the ground, communicating the company or owner's name, the number of facilities marked, the type, and the size of each facility. For those that are not familiar, the State Underground Damage Prevention Safety Commission has locating and marking best practices available on their website. They have incorporated some Common Ground Alliance marking best practices as well. I recommend reviewing the best practices. The second component is posting a positive response code with comments. Posting a response code that best communicates the status of the ticket and adding information into the comment section that clearly communicates additional information to the excavator. The third component is uploading supporting documentation. Uploading supporting documentation, also called file attachments. Supporting documentation can be a video or pictures of the areas marked, maps or sketches depicting the facilities within the excavation area, and most importantly, positive response, using positive response for communication and collaboration to maximize safety and efficiency. Let's go over the first two bold bullet points, then come back to the bottom two. The first bullet is response codes. Colorado 811 currently has 22 response codes to choose from. The facility owner operator should use the response code that accurately reflects the status of the ticket. Some response codes are marked, private facilities or abandoned facilities may be in the area. For engineering and subsurface utility engineering tickets, a response code of 18, installation records, maps, or other documents have been provided, only to be used on engineering tickets or subsurface utility engineering tickets, or ongoing ticket. This response code should be used when the locator and the excavator have agreed on a different marking schedule. On the response code comments, comments are used to communicate additional information to the excavator, possibly a great place to provide any additional information you may have regarding the name, number, type, and size of the facilities that were marked. Currently, only 4 of the response codes require comments. However, it is best practice to provide comments regardless of the response code being used. I will mention that providing comments, there is a minimum character limit of 10 characters and a maximum character limit of 255 characters for positive response comments. A full list of positive response codes and their description can be found on our website at colorado811.org. We are currently looking at the available response codes and assessing whether there's a need to modify or remove codes or possibly add additional codes that will help clearly communicate the status of the ticket. We're also working on addressing character limits in the comments and providing additional character space for communicating additional information. I'll pass it to Carly to cover some examples of positive response codes with comments.
Thanks, Carla. So here we have some examples of good positive responses that we've received. Let's take a look at what makes them good. The top 3 are all a clear no conflict response, which in itself is technically enough and clearly states the underground facility owner operator member does not have any underground assets in the requested locate area that will be affected by the described excavation. But what makes these especially great are the additional comments that were sent along with the response. The first one lets the excavator know what type of facility is in the area, since the facility owner operator member has multiple types, where it's running, and where exactly he is clear. The second one provides additional information on where the facility owner operator member's nearest asset is, just in case. And the third one is a great example of the effect that including the excavator attachments when submitting a ticket has. The member is able to clear the ticket by using the prints the contractor provided, saving time and a locator run. The last one seems simple enough. It's locate area marked, but adding a contact and contact phone number for the excavator to reach out to in case he has any questions can save everyone a bunch of time, help prevent damages by opening up those communication avenues between the excavator and the facility owner operator members. Now let's take a look at some not so great positive responses that we've received. The first one we see is what our system automatically stamps when the facility owner operator member has not posted a positive response to the ticket by the locate by date on the ticket. It reads 999, member facility has not responded to Colorado 811, so the excavator is aware that a response is still missing. The next one is a 002 clear no conflict response. However, the first statement in the added comments reads not clear to dig, and the rest of the comment, no utilities marked, ran out of time to complete locate, ongoing ticket, and then continues to note that 2 other facilities were marked. You can see how this would be confusing to an excavator when, with this one response, they've been told that they're clear, then not clear, that this is an ongoing ticket, and finally that something was marked. The third response is also a clear no conflict response. However, the comments added note that the locator tried to contact the excavator to ask if they could delay this ticket for later, meaning the better fitting positive response that could have been used was probably the 023 response for ongoing ticket per locator excavator agreement. The reason the locator may have chosen the clear no conflict response instead might be because he was unable to actually reach the excavator to make that agreement with. However, the clear no conflict response could lead to some confusion with the excavator thinking the facility owner operator member does not have any assets in the area at all, which could result in a damage. The final one is a 017 completed CMARCs on site response, and the comments note this may be a duplicate or bordering ticket, which is fine and makes sense, but then continues to state in capital letters, not clear to dig, which seems to be a counter statement to the selected completed CMARCs on site positive response that was chosen. So you can see how all of these might cause some confusion if you were the excavator receiving them. What do you think the top 3 response codes that we see used the most are? The top response used is 002, clear no conflict. Year to date, 40.5% of our total responses received were clear no conflict responses. Followed up by 001, locate area marked. Year to date, 16% used this response. And the top third response used is 008, call facility owner for further info. Year to date, we've seen 15% of the overall volume use call facility owner response. We were a bit surprised that the 008 call facility owner operator for further info has jumped up to rank in the top 3. Let's take a look at some facts. Call facility owner usage has jumped 461% in 2023 over 2022. 2.1 million 008 responses were posted in 2023 versus just 379,000 in 2022. Call facility owner usage is continuing to increase. It has jumped up by 35% January through August of this year over last year for the same time frame. 1.1 million responses posted used the 008 call facility owner as of August 2024. Some of the 008 uses that we're seeing, occasionally we'll see this response posted and no phone number is in the comments. This positive response is one of the few responses that does require a minimum 10-character comment to be added, and that was in the hopes that at least a phone number is provided for the excavator to call as the response requests. It also seems that 008 could often be misused, possibly because there isn't a response code that clearly communicates the status of the ticket, such as if a quality check is needed, or the locate has not started or can't be completed on time, or maybe they were unable to make the written agreement with the excavator needed to use response number 23 for ongoing ticket. And finally, possibly to avoid getting an automatic positive response re-notification if a response is not posted. Next, let's learn a little bit more about the other aspects of positive response procedure, supporting documentation, and automatic positive response re-notifications. Carla?
Thanks, Carly. Okay, on the bottom 2 bullets, supporting documentation are also known as file attachments. Why should you provide supporting documentation? Not only is it mandated by law, but more importantly, it can help protect the excavators in the field and the assets. Also, in the event of a damage, it documents the markings placed on site. Colorado 811 offers various methods to post responses and upload supporting documentation. Colorado 811 stores tickets and file attachments for 3 years, and we recommend that both excavators and facility owners store documentation either according to your internal file retention policy or for a minimum of 3 years. Responding by the locate by date and automatic positive response re-notifications. Colorado 811 is mandated by law to notify members that have not posted a positive response by the due date on the ticket. These transmissions are called automatic positive response re-notifications, or also known as late notices. Since supporting documentation is mandated and an important component of positive response, members that are not providing file attachments in addition to the response codes with comments are encouraged to do so, because not providing supporting documentation is considered as being out of compliance with state law. I'll pass it on to Carly to cover some examples of supporting documentation. Carly?
Thanks, Carla. All right, let's take a look at a few examples of some good facility owner operator positive response supporting attachments that we have received. This first one is a great example. It's a nice and clear picture showing the clearly identifiable markings on the ground, and it includes a small map showing the location, a cardinal compass displaying the direction, and additional information like the date and time, the address, city, and county as well. The next one we have is another good picture showing the locate markings and the path they run to the pedestals in the manhole. This third one is a good example of what can be provided instead of pictures. This is a digital sketch provided by the facility owner operator member showing where their assets are in regard to the requested locate area. We can see the sketch includes the dig area polygon from the ticket, which is what our system creates once the requested locate area is mapped out during the ticket's creation. It also shows the facility owner operator's lines in the area, as well as a legend so the excavator knows exactly what is what on the map. This final one is a great example of what can be provided if pictures or digital sketches are unavailable. This is a hand-drawn sketch showing the house at the address requested for locates, the lines going into the home, and it includes information on the lines, as well as a north directional for reference. Now, let's take a look at some not so great examples of positive response supporting documentation that we've received. Here we have a beautiful picture of a fence. This provides nothing that supports a positive response, like say a gate with a lock shown if this picture was added with a no access response. It's just a fence. It's not supporting at all. Up next, we have a picture of someone's car dash showing an intersection with people under a canopy through the vehicle's windshield. There are no locate markings visible in this picture, and I'm not sure what was trying to be shown with this image. This third one is another picture taken from a vehicle, and while there are at least some blue locate flags showing in this image, the car door is still clearly in the way and makes this not the best supporting image. And this last one needs no explanation. You can clearly see why this one would be considered a not so great positive response attachment. Now, moving on to the final step of the process, is the excavator ready to dig or not? For that, I'll pass it off to Sonata.
Thanks, Carly. You can see here that we have an infographic. It's also available on our website. And I'd like to start with the question, why is it important to know if you're ready to dig? Safety. Who is responsible for safety on a job site? The answer should be everyone that is connected to the locates and the work being done on the job site. Whether tickets originate in the field or they are done in the office, check the email confirmation or the positive response display before sending a crew into the field. If utilities have not responded appropriately, submit an excavator re-notification and follow up directly. The excavator re-notification should specify the member or members that haven't completed positive response or provided supporting documentation. An excavator re-notification is required prior to proceeding with excavation. Please also make every reasonable effort to get underground lines marked prior to digging. Web ticket entry makes excavator re-notifications easy, and calling works too. Once the crew is on site, they should compare the positive responses to what they see on the job site. If marks have been destroyed, submit a relocate refresh, either from the field or in the office. Also look for evidence of any unmarked and/or private lines, and keep in mind that private facilities are owned and maintained by each owner. The homeowner is not expected to register as a member in Colorado, and some utilities that should be registered with the 811 aren't. To find a private locator, search Colorado Private Locate Companies and click the result that leads to our website. Remember, treat all unmarked lines that are found as live lines and call in a damage ticket. Here is our positive response display. When you enter your ticket number on the top and click the magnifying glass, the system will bring up your ticket with up-to-the-minute information. Some highlights are the supporting documentation in either the URL or attachments column. Also be sure to read the comments. If you submit a relocate refresh or an excavator re-notification, you will be able to verify it has been responded to using the responded date and timestamp. Finally, we get to the short description of the response and the response code. All these elements should work together to clearly convey the status of your ticket. If you have doubts, follow up. Again, be sure to verify the responses before sending people into the field and that what they see matches the documentation. One of my favorite examples of why field verifying responses is so important is a story that was shared in a meeting by a gas locator. He had finished up marking his gas lines and was putting his equipment away when a motor grader came up the road, grading off all of his freshly painted marks. If he hadn't seen the grader destroying his marks, he wouldn't have known to remark them. The excavator didn't compare the positive response documentation to what they saw on site. They could have easily dug without marks on the gas, not realizing that the provided marks were no longer there. It is not enough for the office to know when the crew is sent. For safety, the crew should verify the provided responses. So anything involving people is subject to human error, and the more people that verify the details, the better the chances that mistakes will be caught. The communication between the office and the field, members and their locators, and 811 are all important to keeping people safe and avoiding damages. When any elements required in law are not provided, for example, clear or locates and supporting documentation, submit an excavator re-notification prior to commencing with your excavation. If you can, wait until it is fixed. Don't be liable for missing a required step on your side, whatever stakeholder group you belong to. If you relocate refresh or excavator re-notify, you will be able to see if it has been responded to by the date and timestamp. All stakeholders should be working together to keep workers and the public safe and to avoid damaging utilities. Thanks again to our session sponsor, MetroNet. What percentage of tickets statewide have an excavator re-notification submitted on them? The answer is 5%. Would you say that 95% of tickets are completed on time in your area? Now I will pass it back to Carla for a final review of the positive response process.
So at a high level, we've covered a 360 view of positive response, starting with excavators providing file attachments to communicate the area of excavation, the member positive response process, posting response codes with comments, and the requirement of providing supporting documentation, and the excavator checklist. Are they ready to dig? These three components play a huge part in maximizing efficiency and safety. It provides an opportunity for effective collaboration and helps the excavator have the documentation they need to be safe. Here we have a scenario of a ticket processed where the work type is installing a mailbox. The description to locate is locate entire lot, access is open. There were no file attachments provided by the excavator. And the member positive response documentation, the response code used was locate area marked, but no supporting documentation provided. What could have been improved in this scenario? One improvement could have been pre-marking the area where the mailbox will be installed. Second, a file attachment of the pre-marked area could have been uploaded when the ticket was created. And third, the facility owner should have provided that supporting documentation that's required, and the supporting documentation would have been either pictures, sketches, or maps of the facilities within the excavation area. Positive response is a two-part process for each stakeholder. Providing supporting documentation enhances collaboration and maximizes safety. Excavator, it starts with providing file attachments during ticket creation for the facility owner to efficiently and effectively mark the underground facilities in the excavation area. Members marking underground facilities within the excavation area, posting a positive response code with comments, and providing the required documentation by the due date on the ticket. And lastly, excavators using positive response to view response codes, comments, and the provided documentation to know whether you're ready to dig, and if not, take follow-up action as appropriate. This concludes our session on maximizing safety and efficiency, navigating Colorado 811 positive response procedures. Thank you.